This is a video of the different trees I have on this property that might be suitable for tree houses. So that's what I'm doing. This end of the property, mostly it would be white pines. They seem to be fairly stable in high wind situations. For the poplars that I have, not so much, which is unfortunate. And then towards the lower end of this property, it definitely is mostly cherry trees, which are great for tree houses. There's a few pine trees over through here. Now that one looks a little small, so I would probably stay away from that. And this path is a pathway the neighbor, I let him mow it. He likes to walk his dogs here. And I said, yeah, keep mowing, it's fine. There's a pine here. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe just some kind of a platform on that one. There's another one over here. Interesting big old pine here. Probably the same. I would trim the lower branches and maybe build a platform, not terribly high up, maybe say 6 foot, put some kind of a railing around it, and people could camp out here. trail here. I guess I'll go through the woods here. One of the plans is eventually to rent a skid steer loader, probably a tracked skid steer, but rent it with a mower on the front instead of a bucket, and I will go through the woods mowing trails. You can actually mow some fairly big trees. Now here's something, this tree ahead of me is about 1.5 inches, and it would clearly have no problem with that. Or even this one, about 2.5 inches, no problem there as well. To create walking paths throughout the woods, and I suppose it could be, well, these mowers are at least 6 foot wide, so would also be good for somebody on some kind of motorized car, like a four-wheeler, some of these little utility type vehicles as well. Anyway, this end of the woods has mostly fairly immature trees. Some bigger mature trees. And most likely because this is flat and it was probably pasture not that long ago. And then overgrown when they stopped pasturing. But the more mature area of the woods, where it's slopey, was probably never pastured. So the trees are much more mature. It is so incredibly dry right now, which is great for what I'm trying to do, put in a driveway. Whoa. Got a little caught there on a tree. Now, where am I? I guess I should walk out onto the roadway and show you. There's a couple trees there that somebody at one point put in these temporary tree stands. Here's one of the trees. There we go. Let's see if I can get these controls. All right. So you can see there is this, what's a temporary thing to sit on waiting for the deer to walk by, but was left there, never taken down, so the tree kind of grew around it. So this pine, it's got these limbs, so didn't need a ladder attached to the tree. But there's another one over here that has the ladder because it didn't have those limbs going up the trunk of the tree. Oh, there it is. You can see the ladder attached to the tree. Whoops, wrong way. And the tree has now grown around those sections where I could never take them out safely. And there's kind of a, attached there, there's a ratchet strap, which surprisingly didn't choke out the tree. And here is these sections going all the way up with the sitting platform up top. Anyway, maybe this tree here, but certainly that other one for a treehouse or tree platform. And then there's another one here. Where the heck did it go? I need to go back the same way. A couple of these piles of roots and tree tops. All the stuff in the way. So this tree, I would probably put a what's called a yoke on there to one side of the tree, which means you can put your carrier beams farther apart and then go out from the tree with support cemented into the ground. Well, I thought there was another pine along here. Evidently not. There's another big pine on the other area where I'm going to put this building. Always getting this adjustment wrong. Anyway, beautiful pine. And I thought for this one, possibly building a support that would be round with no other supports, just the tree. So either, I don't have the equipment for this, find somebody that can either bend angle iron or I-beam, not bend it, but roll it, and do that in 2 or 3 or even 4 sections, where you can then put it on the tree, put the tabs in to support it, bolt it in, or do an octagonal shape in 8 sections, where each section is straight, no rolling required. Anyway, I'll have to check out and see what is available locally to me. I'll go down here and show you the available cherry trees. this tree up ahead, that's a poplar. Not entirely sure what type, but pretty substantial tree, but they have a very weak root system. And they tend to, in severe windstorm, topple over. So I think, for safety's sake, I need to ignore those as potential trees for a tree house. Here's another one. Whoa. Get rotted out. And then another one over here. You can see how weak the root system is. That's amazingly shallow root, huh? It might have got caught when this tree fell over and got pulled down that way, very likely. But they're all over this woods. Very few stones here. So you can see this is much more mature woods here. But still, could have been pastured certainly at one point. But I don't think it was. So as we go through this area, start to see these cherries that have their hardwoods and have a strong root system. And here's some cherries I've marked off with surveyor's tape. So then the land drops way off here. I don't know if you can get an idea how much it drops off, but it's quite a bit. Now the other thing with putting a tab into a tree, ideally, you don't want to put it into a fully mature tree, one that is still growing in size and is healthy. So not too young, not too old, just right. So. Another cherry. This button is not intuitive for me. So cherries, maples, all very, very good for a tree house. So 2 trees are better than 1. 3 trees are better than 2. 4 trees, I guess, kind of continues on. Better than 3. At that point, you don't really need more. There's some maples here. So, this would be fairly far from a bathroom. I could run water here, certainly. This is a cluster of some really nice cherry trees. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I could definitely do something here. Wrong way. Cherries. We got somebody here. Look at that. Oh, it's interesting. Digging up, but I'm not seeing any hole here, or burrow. More cherries down there. Yeah, could make a little treehouse village here, maybe. Somebody put a lot of effort into digging and then didn't do much with it. Right. And then there's some pines up here that I think would be excellent also. Every time I cough now, I think I have COVID-19. Probably have, a lot of people do. Yeah, here we are. Big white pine with a cherry right behind it. Might be able to utilize that. And a little cluster of smaller white pines over here. So probably this one, I would connect to that with a platform. So going from here to here. But then, what I think is interesting, based on the slope of the ground, I could use some of these trees here and connect to those for a ramp. So instead of stairs, put a ramp in, going